Good afternoon, good morning, good night. Welcome back to the How Does This Work podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Lance. Be sure to give me a follow on Twitter at _Antoine Lance. That's the in all caps _ ANTWANLANCE. Also, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at HDTW _podcast. It is Thursday, meaning this is the last show of the week. I hope that you had a great week and that everything worked out for you. My week was pretty decent. I spent a lot of time actually yesterday rebuilding my computer, and it took a while. And at the time of recording this, I still hadn't actually finished it, but prayerfully by the time you hear this, it'll be up and working, and I'll be having tons of fun with my new Speedy Gonzalez computer. But that's something I'm into. You know, I like computers and technology and all that good stuff. I'm like the resident IT guy for a lot of people. But what's some stuff that you're into? Let me know on Twitter. A hobby of yours, or just something that you do that relaxes you. You know, like building computers can be tedious, but for me, it's pretty relaxing. So yeah, what's something that may be a bit tedious to other people, but that you find relaxing and enjoyable? Let me know down on Twitter, and just yeah. So not really gonna beat around the bush a whole lot. Topic for today is finding balance, which is something that I think, especially in this country, we all struggle with, is finding balance. It's not an easy thing to do, and then once you factor in the fact that there's multiple, or I guess there's one aspect, or I guess there's one, the overall goal is balance, but there are, different parts obviously that go into achieving that goal of being balanced in different aspects of life. So definition of balance, and this was a Google definition, and Google never gives me good definitions, so I was pretty shocked by this one. But balance is defined by Google as an even distribution of weight enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady, which that's perfect. I think that's a perfect definition for balance. I think key part of the definition is upright and steady. Upright and steady meaning stable, in control, which I think is a lot of the difficulty as far as finding your balance in life, is remaining steady and stable and in control. And I'm by no means am I a master of it. I'm not terrible at it. I'm getting better. As time goes on, I definitely find myself becoming more balanced in every aspect of life, but it's definitely a pretty difficult thing to do. Along with like technology and building computers, I'm a really big gamer. I love playing video games, all that stuff. So I guess it was like three months ago, I guess at this point, the Animal Crossing and Doom, they both came out on the same day. If you're listening and you've played either of those games, I think you can kind of see where I'm about to go with this. But Doom is about slaying demons, and Animal Crossing is kind of like The Sims with anthropomorphic animals. Well, sometimes they're animals. They're not always animals, but yeah. I think when the games had come out, I saw all kinds of memes and stuff about like the duality of man, meaning that people were going to be playing Doom 1 minute, slaying demons, and then the next minute, selling turnips to raccoons in Animal Crossing. And it's funny, obviously, and it's a meme, but I think it fits perfectly for me trying to describe balance and duality, combining your two halves into one whole. And I didn't play Doom. I haven't played Doom yet, but I do play a lot of Animal Crossing because it's very relaxing. And so I think it's just a matter of taking things like Doom that might give you an adrenaline rush and balance, or evening that type of thing out with Animal Crossing, which is very, relaxing, and it brings your levels down. So I think, like I said, that's a meme, and obviously it's pretty funny, but, well, to me it's pretty funny. But, that, I feel like, obviously the essence of life is not doom and Animal Crossing, but, I feel like those two juxtaposed meet somewhere in the middle of a perfectly healthy, not too much of an adrenaline junkie, and also not too much, not too lackadaisical. I think somewhere in the middle is where that person would be. And so I think you can apply a situation like that to your everyday life, just as far as trying to balance all the different portions. Obviously with life, it's a little bit more difficult because you've got so many different aspects of life that you have to try and balance, whether it be your relationship, work, church, whatever, just different. If you have kids, if those kids play sports, there's lots of different aspects for you to try and balance out. And I think that, yeah, obviously it's pretty difficult. Not a lot of people are good at it. I'm not good at it, but hopefully by the end of this episode, I'll have said something that you can take with you, and maybe, you'll implement that into your everyday life, and it'll help you at some point achieve some sort of balance. And so, there's a lot of negative side effects, obviously, that do come with a lack of balance. Again, definition of balance, remaining steady and stable is the end of that definition that I read about balance. And so, if you begin to lose the balance of your life, you will start to see a lot of different changes. I think for most people, the change you start to see is changes in behavior. And so, this is something I think you see a lot of times with people who work a lot and don't really have too much of a balance as far as their work life and their home life. And so, you'll start to see those people just over time, as they work too much, they start to wear down. And, you start to see they might be a little bit short with you, or they might start to become a little bit cranky, whether it be because they're just tired of being at work all the time, or they're not getting enough rest when they do get off of work before the next day. That person, they probably just get home, eat something real quick, catch a quick shower, and then they're right to bed. So they don't actually ever get any time to like unwind and do things that they find enjoyable that may help them unwind. And so you end up just taking a lot of the stress of the previous day's work into the next day's work. And that ends up creating this really, really vicious cycle of just work and, all work, the saying, all work and no fun makes for, I think it's like all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. It's like the first time I ever heard that saying, and I was just like, I don't know who Johnny is, but I get it. But yeah, all work and no fun is no, you have to balance things out. A little bit unrelated, but still on the topic of balance. I see a lot of times when fighters are training for fights, the last few days before the fight, they don't really do a whole lot of training. They might do some light cardio or something light. They're still watching what they intake and stuff like that, but they're not really pushing hard. They're not doing like really intense training, and that's because they have to let their body unwind. And I think that's such a important aspect of just life that a lot of people choose to let go by the wayside. And they just work all the time, and they don't ever stop and smell the roses, which the roses smell like dirt, but I mean, you get it. Like no one, they don't stop and just smell the flowers, or, go for a walk and just look outside and be like, man, the sky is really pretty. And they don't do a lot of those little things. For me personally, I find that the little things definitely, help me unwind. Not so much lately because, not working. So I have pretty much all day to unwind. But when I was working, it would be little things that would definitely to help me to unwind, whether it be like, me playing a quick video game, or like I might go for a walk, or me and my girlfriend might go get ice cream. Little things like that definitely help me to unwind after a rough day at work, which, as adults, we're all going to have. Nobody's job is perfect. So you're never going to, have a perfect job. There's no such thing as a perfect job. You're going to have rough days here and there. And, prayerfully you have a lot of good days, but you are going to have those bad days. When you do have those bad days, it would be really beneficial if, you had some way to, stop and unwind and just take a break. At my last job, my lunch was, a lot of times my lunch would be my unwind, like, day saver portion. Cause I'd either go upstairs, cause it was pretty cool. So I'd go up there and take a nap, or I'd go sit in my car and take a nap, depending on, if it was hot or however it felt outside. Pro tip, work or lunch naps in your car during like fall, right before it gets too cold. Perfect. And it has to be like a 20 to 30 minute nap. You can't nap any longer than that, or else you'll be tired and you won't want to go back to work. But, another downside to not finding balance, and this is something that, like, I've been struggling myself, like, personally, I've been struggling with it lately, is you just kind of feel heavy, and it's weird because it's not like anything is physically on you, but like, mentally you just feel heavy, like you feel bogged down by just life and all the other stuff you got going on. But I've been dealing with that a little bit lately, just feeling really heavy for what I thought was no reason, until I was like prepping to record this. I kind of put two and two together and realized that I've been lacking some balance in my life, and so I needed to shift some things around and figure out how I can, tilt the scales a little bit, so that there'll be more 50-50 and less 70-30. Lack of balance can also lead to poor personal health, because, like I said earlier, you might come home from work, probably pop a TV dinner, take a shower, and go to sleep, and so you're not really getting any time into exercise or do anything fun to alleviate your mind of whatever stresses that you have going on in the moment. And so that can definitely lead to poor health. Stress itself is a big contributing factor, or lack of balance is a big factor into stress, and stress is a killer. Stress will absolutely ruin your body. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for your soul. You should try and stress as little as possible in life. Obviously, not always going to be possible. There's just certain things in life that are meant to stress us out, and we can do everything in our power to avoid that. But a lot of times, whatever is going to stress us is going to stress us, and then at that point, we just have to handle it accordingly and try and limit the damage. Try and just hold on to as much faith and hope, and try and get some of that stress off of your plate. Like, if you're in a relationship, or just any relationship you have, really, you'll probably start to see that get affected, whether it be because you're always at work, so you're not spending time with your significant other, or when you do get off work, you're tired, so you don't really want to do anything. You just want to unwind. It all plays a really big role, especially like on your mental. And if your mind's not in things, then it's kind of hard to get your body into it. You gotta want to do stuff in order to do it, and it's really hard to convince yourself to do something if you just flat out don't feel like doing it. And if you don't have that balance in life, that'll definitely start to show up, I feel. Proverbs 11:1 reads, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight," which to me means that when things are out of line, when things aren't balanced, and this is more than just, the amount of times or the amount of time that you spend exercising and hanging out with your friends and compared to the amount of time you spend at work. This is the amount of time that, you spend in prayer and just in conversation with God. You have to, it's sad because, a lot of times in life we either we work conversation time with God in when it's convenient for us, or we allow other natural life things to just kind of limit that time to a minimum, and that's not the way it should be. Trust me, I completely understand. I've been there before. We've all been there before. It's a difficult thing to maneuver as far as prioritizing, how you want to set up the structure of your relationship with God and your natural life. For most people, it's the way that it is. It should be the other way around. But I completely understand, why things are the way they are. Like I get that, but you don't want that. If there were ever a aspect of your life where you didn't want an imbalance, it would definitely be in your relationship with God. That's the one place where you want to try and keep things as balanced as possible at all times. And no, it's not easy. And yeah, we have life, and life gets in the way of things. But just like you find ways to make time for things in your life, you should be able to find a way to make time for, your relationship with God. Just like, you find a way to make your relationship with a man or a woman work. There's no reason for you to not be able to make your relationship with God work. Which again, we've all been there, I believe, as far as believers and non-believers. We've all been there. We just have to realize that there are sometimes more important things and more pressing matters than what we see in the natural. There are whole spiritual attacks happening that we don't see because we're not looking in the right place. We're only looking at how we are being affected in the natural, and you have to be able to look beyond that sometimes, and that comes from prayer and relationship time with God. So it's just some things that I personally find help me maintain a balance in my life. So I like to look at it kind of like a checks and balances, if you will. So like, let's say I'll put it this way. So when I woke up yesterday morning, and what I am now trying to do with the time that I have is I'll wake up, I'll say a prayer, I'll read a little bit, and then I'll go for a walk, and then I'll come back, I'll do some work, and then, I do whatever for the rest of my day. But for me, it's all about making sure that every day you touch every aspect. And what I mean is that, if you have hobbies that you like to do, or just whatever, like, let's just look at hobbies. If you have hobbies, like I said, I like fiddling with computers and stuff like that. In the last 2 days, I've taken apart 2 computers, one just because, and the other one I had to upgrade. But so like I said, wake up, say a prayer, spend some time with God, read a book. Obviously, I enjoy reading, so I read a little bit. I got a lot of books right now that I'm trying to read, and I'd love to be able to finish them all before it's time for me to go back to work, whenever that might be. So, and even then, I'm not going to stop reading, but, say a prayer, spend time with God, read a book. That's one activity that I like. Go for a walk, get some exercise in, because I don't trust the gym still. Do some work, be an adult. And then after that, I'll do whatever, whether it be playing games or reading more or whatever. I just like to make sure that every day I touch every aspect of my life that I find important, that I would like some balance. And like, for me, it's all about maintaining a balance, like I said, spiritually and physically. And so there might be some things that, and this is just me, this is just for me, maybe you can take some of this with you. There might be some things that you don't necessarily consider for your life to be necessary to balance. And that's another part of it. You have to sit down and have that conversation with yourself where, you figure out, okay, what are like the 5, 3, whatever, 2, 1, 4, 6, 98, whatever your number is, how many different aspects of my life am I involved in currently? And how can I divvy up time every day for each of those aspects? You gotta, before you can do anything, you gotta make a plan. My girlfriend and has probably been the biggest proponent in planning in my life. Her and my mom, they both do a lot of planning, and I very much do not do a lot of planning. I like to just kind of do stuff sometimes, and that works certain times, but a lot of times in life it is better for you if you have a plan before you dive into things. And so you have to plan out, all right, let's say it's Monday and I want to get 4 of my like 7 things done. And so you got to sit down, you got to plan out your day, you got to figure out how you're going to work each aspect of what you want to get done into your day. And you have to like set your goals, set yourself to that, and don't get discouraged if you feel like you're leaving out some other aspect because you only have 24 hours in a day and you have to sleep for like 8 hours of that. Or you're supposed to. I know most people don't, but you have to figure out, all right, one day at a time, how can I work a little bit on every different aspect of life? Another thing that you kind of have to be okay with, I think, if you're gonna work on balance is, and this is really difficult, is balancing people. I don't so much have this problem because I don't have a whole lot of people in my life that I need to balance. But for those that do, I think you have to realize that you can't take on more than what you can handle. And when you do that, you're gonna short circuit. It's like a robot, but you have to be aware that you can only handle so much at a time, and it's okay because we're only humans. We're not God, we're not omniscient, we don't know everything, we can't predict everything that's going to happen. So you have to realize that, okay, if you've got stuff to do from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and your friend wants to hang out, but you also have stuff to do from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow, you have to be able to be like, okay, I get it. I know you want to hang out. I'd love to hang out. It'd be cool. Not tonight. I don't have the time right now. And I think you have to be willing to accept that there might be some people in life who won't be able to accept that, and that's their loss, because you're awesome. If you're listening to this, you're awesome, and so they're losing out. But you gotta be able to realize that there's gonna be times in life where you're gonna be too busy to do certain things with certain people, and it's fine. It's okay. As adults, a lot of us are really busy people. We're not always gonna have the amount of free time that we would like, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so I think people should just realize that just because you don't want to hang out with them at a moment, it doesn't mean that you don't like them. It just means that they're busy. And as you progress in life and as you grow in life, you're only going to get busier. And so obviously finding that balance is going to be hard. But I think if you can figure you out a plan, get it written down, and figure out how to implement it, and then work on trying to navigate people who aren't okay, because people definitely, or I'll say a lot of people in your life that you meet aren't going to help you find any balance. They're just going to tilt you to one side or the other. You just have to figure out how to navigate that, and realize that you're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but that's okay, because it's not your job to make everybody happy. God didn't put us on the earth and say, all right, now go out there and every person that you ever meet, go and make them happy by, bowing to their every whim. No, that's not how life works. And nobody worth your time is going to judge you for saying no. Notice I say no one worth your time. I think that a lot of times we just say yes to things for the fear of judgment from people. But I mean, if someone's judging you because you're busy and they're not, then do you really do you really care what that person has to say? Like, do you really care what that person thinks? For personally, I don't. That's just me. But just you got to find a way that you can accept that, like I said, that not everybody is gonna understand what you're doing and understand what you got going on, but you can never sacrifice your well-being for the sake of Johnny Bravo over there wanting to go have drinks for the 9th night in a row. Like, it don't work that way. And so if you really are, if you're really looking for balance, you'll just be like, yo, Johnny B, I'm sorry, I'd love to go out for drinks again, but went out for drinks like 9 nights in a row or 8 nights in a row, and my liver is starting to hurt, and I also have to work tomorrow, so I'm just going to chill on this one. If Johnny B is meant to be in your life, he'll understand that. If not, he'll go and continue to drink himself into an early grave, and you'll be one step closer to finding you some true balance in life. It's all about duality. It's all about duality. It's all about being able to balance out what you do and who you do it with and how you do it and how often you do it. You don't have to do something every day. You can do something 2 days a week, but if you do that thing 2 days a week, every week for 52 weeks, I mean, you've done that a lot in 1 year, it doesn't have to be an everyday thing. You're allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to not do something for a while. It's all about shifting things around in order to find some balance. Just sit down and be like, all right, if you want to write, be like, all right, I'm going to block off, 40 minutes a day or 40 minutes every other day. I'll block off 40 minutes every other day until I'm great at this, but I'll block off 40 minutes every other day just to writing, where I can work on my writing and, brainstorm ideas for things I want to write about. And whatever 40 minutes of your day that you choose to block off, you have to stick to it. You can't shift it or move it around. It has to be the same 40 minutes every day. And you got to keep at it, because eventually it'll turn into a habit. But that's all I got. I didn't really have a whole lot. Because I'm only doing 2 episodes a week now, my goal honestly is that the episodes, 30 minutes is cool, but if they got shorter, I wouldn't be mad, because I feel like if they got shorter, that means I'm being more concise and getting to my points quicker, which is always, my objective is to be concise and make sure that everything I'm saying is filtered through the appropriate filter, and that I'm not saying anything incorrectly or out of pocket or nothing crazy like that. But that's everything. That's everything I got. I hope you had a great week. I really hope you have a great weekend. I guess, if this is a personal decision I made, I'm no longer partaking in the 4th of July, because it doesn't represent, the 4th of July does not represent me. And I feel like it doesn't represent us as black people. So I will no longer be partaking in it. But if you do partake in the 4th of July, I hope you stay safe. Don't go to any COVID parties. Make sure you don't go out of the country or anything like that. But I do hope you have fun. I hope the food is delicious. I hope you make friends from 6 feet apart, of course. But yeah, just be safe and have a good weekend. If no one has told you I love you, you mean the world to me. God loves you. I hope you all stay safe, stay 6 feet apart, wear your mask, be blessed, have a great weekend. I will talk to you all on Tuesday.